Tidy Tilly, the original tale of Mrs. Tittlemouse, modernized. Once upon a time, there was a particular little mouse named Tilly. She lived in a cozy burrow under a hedge with a maze of tunnels leading to her pantry, storerooms, and even a special nook for her favorite snacks, seeds and nuts. Tilly was always tidying, sweeping the floors, dusting the shelves, and keeping everything in perfect order. She simply couldn't stand a mess. One day, as she bustled about with her dustpan, a tiny beetle scurried in through the doorway. "Shoo, shoo! Wipe your feet before you track dirt in here," scolded Tilly, brushing him right out the door. Then a ladybug in a red, spotty cloak hurried through the tunnels. "Oh, no, I hear your children are calling. Better fly home," cried Tilly, ushering her out before she could so much as land on a shelf. Later, a hairy, large spider crept inside to escape the rain. "Excuse me, is this Miss Muffet's house?" he asked. "Absolutely not, and don't you go leaving cobwebs in my clean corners," Tilly huffed, sweeping him right out the window. She went to check her storerooms when suddenly she smelled something sweet. Is that honey or just the flowers outside? Following the scent, she turned a corner and nearly bumped into Bumblebee, a mischievous little bumblebee. Startled, Tilly asked, "Bee, why are you always buzzing in through my windows? And why does it smell like honey?" "Bzzz, I don't know," Bee replied, and quickly zipped into a storeroom. When Tilly peeked inside, she gasped. The room, once used for acorns, was now packed with moss and honeycomb, and more bees. "Oh, no, no, no! I do not rent out rooms. This is an intrusion," she squeaked. As she pulled at the moss, out popped several more bees, buzzing in protest. Tilly backed out of the tunnel. "I'll need help with this, but not from Mr. Jackson. He never wipes his feet." At that very moment, Tilly heard a deep, rumbly cough coming from her living room. There sat Mr. Jackson, a huge, silly toad. He was dripping wet, twiddling his thumbs and smiling. "Why, hello there, Miss Tilly," he boomed. "I got caught in the rain. Thought I might pop in and dry off a little." "I was about to clean a mess, but I might need a snack first. Would you like some cherry pits?" she asked politely. "No teeth, no teeth," he croaked, opening his mouth way too wide to prove it. "How about some seeds?" She offered him a plate. "Achoo!" Mr. Jackson blew them all over the room. Miss Tilly groaned. What a mess. Then Mr. Jackson sniffed the air. Honey, that's what I really want. I could smell it from outside." But before Tilly could stop him, he wandered straight into the tunnels, leaving big, wet footprints behind him. First, he squeezed into the pantry. "Where is it?" he croaked, rummaging through the shelves. "No honey here." On his way to check the next storage room, he scared Miss Butterfly, who had been nibbling sugar. She fluttered away just in time. "Miss Tilly, "You sure do have a lot of visitors," chuckled Mr. Jackson. "And none of them invited," she huffed. Down the passage Bumblebee buzzed straight into Mr. Jackson's path. In an instant, he snapped her up, then spit her right back out. "Too prickly," he muttered, wiping his mouth. "Get out, you naughty old toad!" shrieked Bee, shaking her wings. Miss Tilly had had enough. "Everyone out!" she called, and hurried everyone through her burrow, closing every door they passed on their way out. Once everyone was gone, Tilly immediately got to work making her front door smaller, much smaller. Now it was only big enough for a mouse. But the mess left behind was dreadful. Tilly worked, sweeping, scrubbing, and tidying for 2 whole weeks. When she finally put down her broom, she was so tired she stayed cozy in bed for days. Since her house was finally spotless again, Tilly invited 5 little mice over for a party, but no toads were allowed. Of course, Mr. Jackson still smelled the honey and came hopping up the hill. Luckily, he couldn't fit inside. Instead, Tilly passed him tiny acorn cups filled with honeydew through the window. "Cheers, Miss Tilly!" Mr. Jackson croaked happily. And for once, Miss Tilly didn't mind the company. In fact, she enjoyed Mr. Jackson's visit. By setting clear boundaries, she knew her house would stay as tidy as she liked, no matter how messy the world outside might be. The end. Moral of the story: it is wonderful to be kind and welcoming, but it's also important to take care of your space and set boundaries. A tidy home and a happy heart are best kept by knowing when to say yes and when to say no. Until next time.